Hello and thank you for joining me for Music in My Life. Today I'll be joined by Tini Bruks, a multi-talented musician. She's somebody who I refer to as my musical bigger sister. She'll be talking about her various musical activities and the journey of music through her studies in ethnomusicology, and you'll find out what that means in just a moment. Stay with us. You've often heard it said that music is a universal language. And as much as a cliche that sounds, I believe it's absolutely true. We often associate certain sounds and instruments with certain cultures and countries. And it's true that different cultures have their own instruments. But you'll find that instruments and various music practices are actually more universal than you think. If I were to mention the instrument bagpipes, you probably think, yeah, that is very Scottish. But before Scotland, bagpipes were in Persia. And I'm sure if we look further back in history, we'll find that before they were in Persia, they were somewhere else. And certain rhythms or different ways of singing, like improvising, we associate, for example, with African music or Afrocentric music in America. But lots of cultures, Scotland had its own form of improvising music in singing, which is similar to music that they sing, for example, today in some of the black churches in Kentucky. So this language of music is a lot more universal and unified than we actually think it is. And music is a way of expressing ourselves, and each culture expresses itself in its own unique way. For example, if you were to go to the country of my parents' origin, which is Jamaica, they would express themselves in... Now, you would probably label that reggae, but in Jamaica, that's just music, that's just natural expression. If you go across the water, now you would label that probably soca or calypso, but in Trinidad, that's just the way they actually communicate. Or you might go over to something like which country do you think of there? That could be Serbia, it could also be Italy. Or if I mention the accordion, you might think France, but the accordion was also used in English folk music. It's like a portable organ which you take around with you. So we have this language called music, which we often think is a differentiator, but I believe it unifies us more than we realize. So we will explore a little bit more about the journey of music. Tina, thank you very much for joining me on Music in My Life.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, there's so many facets to you as a musician, and it's something that I've always been fascinated by. Growing up, I've known you, and I've seen the different parts of your musicianship, what makes you as a musician. So, what are you as a musician? What do you do?
Okay, I'm a singer and a pianist, and sometimes I do both at the same time. I'm also a teacher, that's how I make my living. I'm also a composer and an arranger, and an ethnomusicologist and a conductor.
I want to pick up on ethnomusicology. It's not a word we use in everyday talk. So what does an ethnomusicologist do or study? What's that all about?
Well, ethnomusicology is the study of the place of music in different cultures of the world. And when I first came across the topic, I thought it was just about the music. But it's a really fascinating subject when you look at the place that musicians have in different societies of the world. So in some places they're very highly regarded, in other places they're, equal to teachers and so on, and in other places they're the bottom of society. And if you tell your parents you want to be a musician, they'll pull their hair out and be really distressed.
Ah, so that's why my father's bald.
Maybe.
Well, let's take these things in their different contexts, one by one. So, singer, pianist. Now, what type of music do you play as a pianist, and what type of music do you sing as a singer?
Well, as a singer, I sing gospel music mostly. I'm classically trained and I sing in about 5 languages, quite convincingly.
Which ones are they? Because I'm going to test you.
I can sing in French and German, Latin, Italian, and English.
And St. Lucian, I guess, as well.
Only short phrases in patois.
Right, and piano, is it?
Piano, again, I'm classically
preference?
trained, and I play gospel music and a little bit of jazz, and quite a mixture on piano.
Here's a question for you. I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, once you've got a classical training, I've heard people often say this, then you can do anything. Do you agree with that statement?
Not always, because I've come across classically trained musicians who can't play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by ear or Happy Birthday to You by ear. So I think I've been quite fortunate to have been able to play by ear and to be classically trained alongside each other, and then being able to continue doing both throughout my career.
And for me, that always makes the best musician, really.
I think so.
Because a lot of people don't realise that obviously classical music is music to also be enjoyed. They often think it's music to be analysed and intellectualised, but it's to be enjoyed, and to enjoy that you need to have that heart. Well, you said you're a singer and pianist, and you do both at the same time.
Occasionally.
So you are now going to prove it to us, because we want you to actually sing something.
Okay.
And you're going to sing a gospel song.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Distressed, perplexed, but not in despair, 'cause I'm a vessel full of power, with a treasure none can compare. Not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed, 'cause I'm a vessel full of power, with a treasure from the Lord. I'm a vessel full of power, with a treasure from the Lord. So thank you, Father, for your power. It has resurrected me, 'cause I'm a vessel full of power, with a treasure from the Lord. I'm bruised and battered, but not broken. Brought my sin back, from sin I am free. 'Cause I'm a vessel, got a whole lot of power, with a treasure delivered me. Thank you, Father, for your power. It has resurrected
Thanks for that music, Tina. That was a Corinthian song, wasn't it, by Micah Stampley?
That's right.
Right. Why is it called a Corinthian song?
Because the lyrics are taken from 2 Corinthians chapter 3 or 4.
Right, so it's taken from the book of the Bible of,
Yeah.
of the same name. Well, we're going to move on to now, it's Tina, the conductor. Mm-hmm. And just talk about your conducting life, really.
Well, I started off conducting in a local church and just working with the youth choir, and that's when I really kind of experimented. Then I was invited to apply for the role of music director for the London Adventist Chorale, and you and I worked together for many years doing that. And really, watching you and previous conductors, I honed my skills and became a proper conductor. And then
watching me, you know, I would never recommend that. Trust me.
You were part of the journey. And then I was able to found my own community gospel choir when I lived in Cambridgeshire.
Wow. So you're living in the east of England, Cambridgeshire, and you founded a community choir. Was that unauditioned or?
It was unauditioned, and it started off really as an evening for people to come together and sing gospel music and to raise money for the Parent-Teacher Association of the primary school that my daughter was attending at the time. And people came, about 50 people came to the first evening, and they loved the singing. And it actually sounded quite good after one evening. So I invited them to another evening, and then I said, would you be interested in rehearsing for the whole of September and do a concert in October during Black History Month, just for your family and friends here at the school? And they said, okay, we'll give it a try. So we had 4 rehearsals, and then we did a concert. And from there, it just grew from strength to strength. People wanted a permanent choir. And so we had a choir of about 60, 70, 75 singers from all walks of life, all parts of Cambridgeshire, who came together to come and sing gospel music. And the choir's been going, this is our 10th year.
Okay. So here's a challenge for you as a conductor. Somebody comes in, oh, we love singing, I want to be part of this choir. I want to work under Tini Bruks. Now, they can't sort of turn a note. Do you sort of say, well, sit at the back, or do you say
I do say don't stand in front of a microphone, but all people are welcome. There are no auditions, so people of all abilities are part of the choir. And when you've got 60 voices, you can, you know, place people in certain places within strong voices to help them along. And I found that by keeping them, they've become stronger and stronger.
Well, that's very much to your credit, and it's great, and long may that continue. Now, of course, as a choir, they are obviously singing, I guess, your arrangements, and because when you get a community choir together like this, you're either going to pick arrangements which already exist, or you're going to say, well, these are the singers I've got, so I have to adapt musically for the group which I'm working with. So that's where your composing and arranging skills now come.
Absolutely, because usually with a choir of 60 singers, I've got 50 women and 10 men. So somehow I have to work out a balance for that. So I have, they have made me write for them. And that has been really good for me. It's made me have to compose specifically for their needs.
Apparently that woman-male thing, they don't have that problem with male voice choirs. Okay. Sorry, as you were, continue. So you're writing, and I mean, what inspires your writing generally?
What inspires it?
Is there anything stylistically, any particular writer, composer, or whatever? Or
well, I have to say we started by just looking at music which was not complicated. So we started looking at folk music and spirituals in particular. And so the early arrangements are of Negro spirituals, and those have worked really well, extremely well. So, and those arrangements have become more complex year by year as the choir become more and more able.
And do you find that they are just picking up things and not sort of worrying about the complexity? Because I know sometimes with community choirs, it's like, oh, it's difficult, but then, oh, we can do it. And then you give them something a little bit more difficult, and they're,
yeah,
oh, actually,
year on year, we
do
do something more complex. We always have a couple of pieces of that I call concert anthems. So, yeah, we rise to the challenge.
Great. And approaching composition and arranging, because obviously, do you see them as one and the same, or do you have a different approach when you're arranging something? Do you see it as a...
I have a different approach, because if I'm a arranger, because the melody already exists and the harmonies usually exist already, it's quite easy to work out something that suits the choir. With composing, which I have done for the choir, then I have to think of everything from scratch. Start with the melody, then add the harmonies, and then work on the arrangement last of all.
Okay, it's interesting because some people find arranging more difficult in that when they they have to generate the ideas themselves. They know, they feel in complete control with arranging, that they have to sort of pay respect and make sure that they don't, because if somebody loves a piece of music and you've arranged it and your arrangement is, as it were, mucking up the piece of music, so to speak, people are like, that's my song that's been destroyed there, what's going on?
I think because I started arranging many years ago, then I find that much easier to do, less daunting.
And of course, part of your conducting work with this choir and other choirs, of course, you've worked with, is the whole training process. Mm-hmm. Now, you've produced a training CD.
Yes, I have.
Can you show us what it looks like?
Sure. It's called So You Wanna Sing Gospel. And I got the idea from you, really. It's a voice training CD. So on it, I talk about what to do with how to stand, how to breathe, how to get more air out. So it just talks you through what you need to do, and it goes through breathing exercises and vocal warm-ups and how to use different parts of the voice to effect.
Okay, so I'm your student, or I've just purchased a CD. So what can I expect? Can you just give me an example of maybe something that you would do?
Well, because this is specifically about singing gospel, and one of the techniques of singing gospel is using the chest voice and stretching the chest voice range, so you can get that real intense sort of sound. So one of the exercises is called stretching the chest voice, and it goes like this. So after I've sung one line, I want you to join in if you can. Ready?
Okay, let's go. Yes, I can feel it right there.
So it helps the top end of the chest voice to really ring out and vibrate. And then it goes up a key, just to really challenge singers.
Oh, so it keeps going higher?
It only goes up once.
Oh, so you're kind. Fantastic. And feedback, I mean, people listen to this and say, oh, I've become a gospel singer overnight.
Well, they haven't quite become a gospel singer overnight, but they do understand more about how to use their voice and how to get different colours from the voice, how to sing in chest voice, how to sing in middle voice, how to sing in head voice, and to get that nice operatic ring, which gospel songs do occasionally need.
That's the great thing about gospel, it just uses so many different
it has so many different colours,
So complex. Well, I want to talk about the gospel. We're going to pick that up because, of course, you've studied ethnomusicology, and your route, I don't want to get it wrong, so I'll let you describe what specifically you studied in there.
My final dissertation, I chose to study the journey of gospel music from its African roots through slavery to Negro spirituals, through emancipation into the early blues and gospel music, and then how that music has grown and developed and come across to England.
Amazing. So which part of Africa does the journey start?
Mostly the west coast of Africa, Ghana in particular, where many slaves were taken throughout the slave trade. Right,
and when we obviously hear gospel nowadays, I mean, what is preserved from West Africa? Because obviously it's a mix of
many different styles.
So what are the pure elements?
I think the pure elements would be the percussive singing, the expressive style of singing, and really singing from the heart. And also harmonies, the call and response element is still there as well in some gospel songs.
Right, and of course it spawns, so many different styles of music as well came out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have blues, we have jazz, we have soul, R&B, and everything that leading up to the 21st century.
Because some people argue that, jazz is sort of more universal than African. I mean, what's your take on that in terms of your study?
It's definitely related to the blues, and blues definitely has roots from slavery, when the music was mixed with English folk song, as well as their African songs. And then the mixture came through into Negro spirituals and into blues. and jazz came through the blues strand, if you like. So it definitely has African roots.
Great.
It has become much more respectable
Yes.
and universal, but it has definitely got African roots.
Okay, well, you're going to sing another song for us now. So this is a gospel song.
Yes, it's a 20th century gospel song, and it's by Jonathan Nelson, and it's called Called to Be.
Called to Be. Well, let's see the journey in Called to Be.
Okay.
In the journey of life, there are winding roads, mountains high and valleys low. Though the road ahead may be unknown, I'm still pressing for the prize that's worth pressing for. You called me to be. I'll say yes, Lord, I agree. My desire passionately is to be what you called me to be, and that's what I'll be. All road signs read destiny. I'll follow you wherever you lead. Nothing can hinder me, for the prize is all I see. All I see. I will be what you called me to be. I'll say yes, Lord, I agree. My desire passionately is to be all you want me to be. That's what I'll be. That's what I'll be. That's what I'll be.
Well, I heard a lot of heart and soul in that, and many of the elements you spoke about. So what we're going to do now, let's swap places. I thought it'd be really interesting if we could actually do a journey through time in music. I know we can't cover the whole thing, but if we just start off like in Africa, West Africa, where it all began. This West African song I know goes like this. Baba o shanu funwa, jo jesu o shanu funwa. And then across the seas we get the spirituals. Gonna lay down my burdens
Down
by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the river. Then we get the city blues. Gonna lay down my burdens
down
by the riverside,
down
by the riverside,
down
by the riverside. And we get jazz. Sounds like a church rhythm as well.
It does.
I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. And out of that we get the soul Motown era. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside.
Down by
the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war no more. You can go soul ballads. Gonna lay down my burdens
down by the riverside.
oh down by
the riverside.
oh down by
the riverside.
I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by
The riverside. Study
war
no more.
Can you do rap? Just kidding. That's a rap. Today with my guests, we've discovered the diversity of music, the different ways of expressing it in composition, in teaching, in corporate expression. And it's a poet who wrote the words, "All nature sings and round me rings the music of the spheres. Wherever you are, there's a song going on. Take time to listen to it." Join me again for Music in My Life.